Humility sometimes is what we need to have to be more collectively successful or individually successful. Humility. Today's topic is on humility. And I bring this one up because when I think back and I really think about what are the things that helped me get, to a happier life, to get to more successful life, to help the business grow, it was humility. Because here's the interesting thing that I realized, and I'm going to go down a business standpoint here for just a little bit, is that whenever the business started to grow and to be able to become a little bit more successful, the thing that I realized the most is that there was an invert that happened. Instead of me now being the person who was, yes, this is what we're going to do, I was leading by example, I was going to do all of these things all of the time, I started to think, as the business starts to grow more and more, I'm going to have less and less in that role. But actually the opposite happened. I started realizing that the more and more the business grew, I was more of a servant to the people around me. I was the person who was, something had to be done and there was really nobody who would do it. So I'd fill the gaps and I'd go and actually do that thing, which is the opposite of what most people think. I hear this talked about all the time when it comes to business, is that, I want to start my own business. I want to be successful because one day I want to be able to just sit back and let the people around me do all of the work. And you know what? Maybe there is a time way down the road, think about like a Jeff Bezos who finally stepped out. I was like, okay, I'm going to go do all of this now and still collect, but at the same time, he's still going to board meetings here and there, but his time really freed up. What really happens though is that the more success that your company has, you're starting to realize the more and more of the stuff that you're doing is the stuff that you don't want to do or that nobody else wants to do. I can think about for myself right now in our company is that we have these containers that are shipped out to paint every week, and they're actually powder coated. And to get that one little thing from our facility to the powder coating facility, which is 3 miles away, there's this task that has to happen where we actually have to load that on a trailer and then drive it to the powder coating. And that drive and that cost that it takes to get it there and back multiple times a week is, X, right? And sometimes that we get them loaded and we need to get in there right away. Well, who does that fall on? Unfortunately, it falls on myself because everybody else is doing what they absolutely have to do. They're out there, they're fabricating, they're doing quality control, they're doing all the things that they are extremely good at, the things that I know that I can't do. For instance, we hired on a full-time drafter, an engineer. And I was doing all of my drafting and everything on SketchUp. And I was like, okay, this is how I'm getting all my drawing sets across. And I was sending all those drawing sets back to our fabricators. And they're looking at these drawing sets like basically crayon drawings to them. And I thought I was so good at doing all this drafting, but it turns out that I'm not even close to what these guys need to have. So the investment that I made was somebody who is much better than myself, professional at what they did on the drafting side of things. And I was able to then let that person do their job, kind of step back. And now I'm filling in the areas maybe that he needs help with. Like, hey, we got this customer that wants to see a quick visual of what their facility is going to look like. Okay, great. Then I jump on now and I do that quick little filler for her. Or I have the fabricators in the back like, hey, we need to get these parts done. We're cruising, but we're going to be out of metal. Shoot, our metal delivery doesn't show up till tomorrow. So now I'm the one who's going and picking up all the metal and bringing it back here on the trailer. Or I'm the one who's taking, what you're realizing is that in order to be a little more successful, and this goes, I'm going to tie this back into a personal as well, but for right now on the business front, in order to be more successful, we have to have humility. We have to have humility. And the reason for that is because you can't take the people who are so very good at what they do, whether it's fabrication, whether it's drafting, whether it's whatever, and take them out of what they're doing and have them do something that's so small or something that basically anybody can do. You have to then take that role on yourself. And the reason for that is because you start to realize that when you start a business or you have something that's a little bit more successful, is that what I find myself being the best at now is delegation. Finding the people who are much better than myself at what they do. Finding the fabricator who can fabricate like it's nobody's business, but he also needs to have a good set of prints. So then we get an architect in here who knows how to get the architectural, who knows how to get the drawing sets done to get the information to that guy in order to let him fabricate the best possible thing. Well, in order for that drafter to even do something to start, we have to have the sales. So what do? We have our marketing guy who's much better than what I do, who comes in and does the marketing and gets the new products out there so that people can see those products. And, oh man, that's what I want. So now the sales start coming in. And then I get somebody who's better at myself and a lot more organized than me, which it doesn't take a lot because I'm not very organized at all. who then is able to take all of those requests for quotes and then get all the quotes back out strategically and on time and when they need to be. Because early on, you realize that you have to fill a lot of different roles in order to be successful in business. You have to be able to do a lot of things just okay in order to get by. But then as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you start realizing I need to hire people who are much better than me at each one of these things. So now what's interesting is you find all these people who are so much better at what they do than what I could do at the original start of it. And now I'm the person that's filling in everything. What's the lesson here today? The lesson here today is that humility sometimes is what we need to have to be more collectively successful or individually successful. It's understanding that, you know what, am I the person in the room that just likes to hear myself talk? Or am I the person in the room who says, you know what, I want this to be done the best way. So I'm going to let the person who understands and knows what they're talking about say what they need to talk about. Let's take that to a family aspect now. I can think back to times where I'm trying to put input in on things that I didn't even know about because I wanted to hear myself talk. And I start looking back at that now and start realizing, you know what, sometimes silence or sometimes saying I don't know is the best thing to say. And I hear it even growing up with, I've heard this said multiple times, even with like raising kids. It's like, you never want to let a kid know that you don't know. You want to let your kid know that you're the smart person. You're the person who understands everything. And so I've heard even in the past, as maybe some of you have heard the same thing, is like, look, even if you tell a kid, give them an answer, it's better sometimes so that they can see you as that figure and I couldn't disagree more on that. It's sometimes letting people know early, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to find out the answer to that is more impactful than making something up, because that tends to go with us further and further along we get in life, is that we think about topics and even like I can remember talking to even business owners. I've got a lot to say on this topic, as you can tell, my mind's going all over the place. But I can think of even business owners that I've spoken to, where I'll specifically bring things up that I know about just to see what their reaction would be, and I can find out very quickly if I can trust the person or not. Because sometimes I'll get these answers back where I'm just like, this person has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, but they're confident in what they're saying. And they're just blowing smoke because they like to hear themselves talk and they feel like they have to be the person in the room who knows everything. And the truth and the reality of it is, to be a leader and to be successful, you do not have to know everything. You have to be able to go and get the ideas, or you have to be willing to get the people, or be able to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to find out the answer to that, because that has so much more impact. If I'm talking to somebody or a business owner and I ask them that question, say, I don't know, that person to me now is a lot more reputable when I talk to them later. Because if that person does give me an answer later and says, hey, here's the answer to that, I'm able to say, you know what, I trust that person, because when they said that they didn't know, they truly didn't know, but they went and found the answer. And when they said they did know and they didn't know, that really brought that person down a lot of tears for me. And the best example of this one is golf. I mean, this just came to my mind, but if you want to know the true personality of somebody, go golfing with them. Are they the person who is hitting the ball and you get done with the hole? Right, how many did you get? Like 4. And you're thinking in your head, like, gosh, that person had at least 9 shots on that hole. But you're right down the 4. I can tell a lot about a person when they get done with that, because are you being true to yourself, or are you just trying to put on an image? And I can tell you right now, I get done with a hole now and it's like 7. And I really 7? It's because I do not want to lie to myself. I want to be humble to not only to the people around me, but also to myself. Yes, I'm competitive. I want to do all these things, but the only way I'm going to be competitive and to be better than you is if I truly am. I could not get done with a round of golf knowing that I shot an X and I have this score where I said it was like 6 shots better than what I truly got, because I would just go to bed at night just laying there thinking about how I wasn't true to myself and how I'm not being as competitive as I could with myself. That's where we all have to take a look at ourselves. And this is the challenge that I have for everybody today, is how humble are you being with those around you? You may think sometimes that you're smart by having all the answers. And you may think that when I look at successful people, they have all the right answers. They have the right answers because of everything that they've gone through. The more and more situations that you go through in life, where you have to find out the hard way what the true answer is, the more and more answers you have. That's why those people seem so smart. The people who sometimes don't seem as smart, or you just roll your eyes out, are the people who haven't gone through those experiences and just have the answer that they can just throw out. A lot of times that's laziness. It's laziness in people that just think, you know what, I want to sound really smart in this situation, so I'm going to give the answer, but they don't know. And here's the issue. The people that do know, you just lost so much credibility to them. Be humble. If you don't know something, say you don't know it. If you're trying to be successful when it comes to your family, when it comes to your business, when it comes to whatever it is, humbleness is one of the biggest attributes that you can have. It's being able to say, you know what, I don't know in this situation, or it's being able to say, I'm going to find out the answer in this situation. And not only that, but it's being willing to bring somebody on your team who knows more than you know. Because collectively as a group, the whole company, the whole group, the whole family, the whole organization, the friendship group, whoever it is going to be collectively better because that person is there. And you have to be able to look at that situation and say, you know what, the group's better in this? Fine, I'm going to do this. I mean, think about like on a basketball team. We talked about this in one of our episodes, but think about a basketball team where you have maybe that shooter on this team who's scored 25, 30 points, and he's a good team player and people around him enjoy, but then you have the opportunity to bring this other player to maybe scoring 40 points. Think about that person who scores 25 points by, oh my gosh, this person's going to come in, he's going to be the person of the group. Humility would be, you know what? Yes, collectively our goal is to win a championship. Let's bring that person in. And sure, I'll be a Robin to the Batman. I'll be the guy who kind of sits back and does all the points. Maybe you get a little bit less. Maybe you're only getting 20 points a game, but maybe that person's out getting 60 points a game. Is that better or is that worse situation? Some of you may look at that and say, well, that's a worse situation because I'm not scoring nearly as much points. You're probably not a team player. Collectively now, if that person's able to score more points, you maybe have a little less points, but your team collectively will naturally win the state championship, national championship, whatever it is, then that is the win. Humility. Humility is what brings success. Being the Robin to a Batman isn't always the worst thing. Being the Robin to the Batman sometimes just means, you know what, collectively as a group now with the two of us, we can do a lot more. You think about even horses on a horse carriage, right? And I don't know, I'm going to butcher this, but a single horse can pull X. You put 2 or 3 horses together, they don't just pull 2 or 3 times the amount, they pull 4, 5, 6 times the amount now because collectively they're better as a group. That's what we have to start looking at more in our own lives is where in my life can I be more humble? Where in my life can I bring humility? Instead of thinking to myself right away, like, gosh, this isn't going to be the best for me. What's it going to do for the group? What's it going to do for the family? What's it going to do for the coworkers? What's it going to do for my sports team? Humility is probably one of the best attributes that we can gain as we get older and older, or even younger and younger. Humility. Not having to, yes, we need to have the competitive, we need to have the drive, but we have to understand and realize is the humbleness and the drive and the competition that we're having, is it with ourselves or was it with the group collectively that we're trying to move forward? If it's your family, you know what? I got to the point now where my oldest beat me in golf. And it's like, well, collectively, is that helping the family or is that helping? You know what? If we get into a family scramble, it's probably helping us collectively. Yeah, I want to be one-on-one. I want to be competitive with the person. And as my little ones are starting to come up and they're starting to be better at what they do, I'm investing now in their lives. And yes, I want you to be better than I was. Yes, I'm still going to beat them every time we go out there at horse, and I'm going to swat them every time they try to go in for a dunk with me on a 6-foot rim. But at the same time, I know as they get older and older, they get more and more competitive, they're going to start doing that to me one day. And it humbles you. The people at work, the people around you, yeah, there may be people better at what they do, but be that person who's able to fill in. That's what I've realized that really brings success to the people around me is where can I be where can I be the person that fills in maybe all of the spots that aren't being filled because collectively it's going to help the group. Ask your guys that question, especially in this new year. How can I be more humble coming up in 2026? I hope you guys are able to take something from today and apply it to your everyday life. If so, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, stay sharp and stay resilient.